For one reason or another, a surprisingly high number of comic book characters have caused a real stir over the years. Whether they're just generally controversial, have done controversial things in canon, or have sparked fan controversy through the way they've been depicted or adapted, heated discussions and public disagreements have been caused by them on a number of occasions. So taking into consideration characters from the pages of comic books and their live-action adaptations, here are the 10 most controversial comic book movie characters of all time. Deadpool. As a comic book character, Deadpool causes controversy for numerous reasons. He's a total ripoff of DC's Deathstroke for starters, his stories deal with cancer in fairly unusual ways, he doesn't give a damn what he says, and he inexplicably breaks the fourth wall. But the character is a huge figure for controversy in movies too. First of all, in X-Men Origins Wolverine, Fox totally butchered the character by sewing his mouth shut and giving him a bunch of new and unnecessary powers. Then, more recently in this year's Deadpool, the fact that his movie was rated R for its extremely explicit language, gory violence, and sex scenes in a time when comic book movies attract kids in their millions rubbed some the wrong way. But come on, it's impossible not to love him anyway. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has caused a lot of controversy over the years, and it's generally been for a number of different reasons relating to her costume. For example, the original costume was eventually seen as being sexist and too skimpy, but the resulting change caused almost as much controversy in itself. When Jim Lee changed it to be less revealing and more modern looking in Wonder Woman number 600, the extent of the change was seen as too drastic and a mishmash of ideas. More recently, the complete lack of red, white, and blue from the costume worn by Gal Gadot's version of the character in Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice caused an uproar, with Linda Carter, who played the character in the 70s television series, publicly criticizing the color scheme. Saint of Killers. Not a lot of people have actually heard of Vertigo Comics' Saint of Killers, but he is one of the most controversial comic book characters for one very simple reason. He killed God. Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon created the character as the antagonist in the Preacher comic books, and you have to give them credit for their sheer balls. Killing the most revered and powerful being in the universe with a gritty, grizzled gunfighter was quite the bold move. That being said, the version of God in question was a spiteful, petty asshole, and opposite to the usual caring and forgiving creator, and that was pretty damn controversial in itself. Spider-Man. Spider-Man's up there with Batman and Superman as one of the most popular comic book movie characters of all time. As a result, he's had 5 huge solo movies and recently appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the first time in Captain America: Civil War, which will definitely boost his popularity even further. He's also generally considered to be the least controversial of the more popular superheroes since he's much lighter in tone than the likes of Batman, which is why it's easy to forget a particular story of his that caused massive amounts of controversy. That story was 2006's Reign, in which it was revealed that prolonged exposure to Peter Parker's radioactive sperm had caused Mary Jane Watson to die of cancer. What? Iron Man. Iron Man has gone from being a B-list hero to one of the most popular in all of fiction in recent years, mostly thanks to his portrayal by Robert Downey Jr. in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But the comic book version of the character has caused a lot of controversy in his time, mostly for his alcoholism. Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark likes a drink, but the Demon in a Bottle comic book arc from 1979 saw the character descend into full-blown alcoholism after accidentally killing an ambassador. It was a brilliant and engaging storyline, one that defined the character. But having such an adult storyline in a comic book was extremely controversial at the time, and the fact that alcoholism has since become an ever-present theme in the character's stories only adds to that. The Mandarin. No live-action depiction of a comic book character has ever been more controversial than the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. The movie depicted the character, who's usually a Chinese martial artist that wields 10 powerful rings, as a bumbling British actor played by Sir Ben Kingsley. He was nothing more than a ruse, created to perform in front of television cameras, while Aldrich Killian went about his terrorist business behind the scenes unopposed. Fans went absolutely crazy at the treatment of Iron Man's most classic foe, and this prompted Marvel Studios to reveal that the real Mandarin was still out there in the one-shot movie All Hail the King, so we might get a faithful live-action portrayal someday.
I am the Mandarin!
Superman. Superman is only like the most popular superhero ever. He's been around since 1938, is the first name that springs to mind when you hear the term superhero, and has appeared in thousands of comic books and several movies over the years. In 2013, however, one of his movies made him a figure of enormous controversy. That movie was Man of Steel, in which the collateral damage caused by Henry Cavill's version of the character, as well as his merciless killing of General Zod, was argued as being out of character for him by millions of fans. Although he hasn't necessarily stuck to his supposed no-killing code in the comic books, the fact that he killed someone in mainstream media after a fight that caused a citywide mess just wasn't seen as the right thing to do. The Punisher. The Punisher is a character who causes controversy by his very nature. Former Navy SEAL Frank Castle became the Punisher when his family was brutally murdered in a gangland hit. Using his military training, he set out on a personal mission to punish any and all criminals. He's got no time for due process or the rules of the law. By his logic, the only way to stop criminals is to put them down permanently, which he often does in brutal fashion. Taking the law into his own hands like that automatically makes him a very controversial figure. He's not a typical hero by any stretch of the imagination, and that might be why he hasn't done too well with his movies. The Joker. The Joker is one of the most despicable villains in all of fiction. He's transcended the comic book genre and indeed the concept of being a villain by starring in multiple live-action movies and becoming one of the most popular comic book characters ever. But almost everything he does has the potential to upset someone. We could be here all day talking about him in that respect, but there's one story in particular in which he really got people talking. The Killing Joke, 1988's brilliant one-shot graphic novel from DC, saw the Joker at his most vile and brutal. The lunatic villain permanently crippled Barbara Gordon by shooting her in the spine before caging her and forcing her father, Jim Gordon, to look at pictures of his daughter injured and naked. In hindsight, The Killing Joke is seen as the definitive Joker story, but his crippling and subsequent humiliation of a beloved superheroine did not sit well with fans at all. Captain America. For many, many years, Captain America has been seen as the most righteous, virtuous, courageous, and morally sound superhero in fiction. His popularity in comic books has been reflected in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where Chris Evans has portrayed him since 2011. But recently in the comic books, his entire history has been turned on its head. In 2016's Captain America Steve Rogers #1, the final panel revealed that Captain America, real name Steve Rogers, has actually been a Hydra double agent since his early youth. For a lot of fans, this was just too much. Hydra have been his arch nemesis for years, and they represent everything he was supposed to hate. It'll be extremely interesting to see where Marvel takes this arc going forward, but some fans will simply never accept it. Thanks for watching our list of the 10 most controversial comic book characters of all time. Did you enjoy the video? Can you think of any more controversial comic book characters we left out? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for more great videos like this one.